I gotta ask, how do you start an episode of any anime, not just Chainsaw Man, any anime on this type of vibe, this type of wave? What is going on, Chainsaw Man? What is going on, Studio Mappa? Because this episode 5 of Chainsaw Man right now has me a little bit like, oh God, what am I watching, folks? Because legit, I'm questioning, like, dog, did the sponsors okay what the heck this episode started off with? Like, where on TV can you start an episode of anything, for that matter, in this provocative manner? Because Chainsaw Man episode 5 starts off very, very much so from where the last one left off, with Denji getting ready to reap the rewards of his treasure hunt. And just putting it that way is so fucking funny. Because essentially it starts off with him in the bathroom with Power, and yeah, he's about to pull his David Copperfield, and and it feels like Chainsaw Man really gets into describing it and showcasing through and through the entirety of that type of situation. Because you gotta remember, Denji, this is the dude that comes from absolutely nothing, barely any human interaction other than people treating him like dog crap. Like, Denji comes from not being experienced in any of this situation. So alone, first time he gets a little bit of a Copperfield, so to speak, and realizes that those are pads, he's just there like an absolute awe, because yeah, I would be too. And I would throw the argument, because of Denji's inexperience on these matters, he probably didn't realize, dog, yeah, like, you know, going to a certain base is cool and all, but especially when you're a little bit older and stuff like that, you probably aren't going to be satisfied with certain bases. Like, it's just gonna leave you like putting a car on, you know what I'm saying, putting the car in the ignition and just walking away, you feel me? Because then after the second and third David Copperfields, he pretty much is there like, damn, that's it. And yeah, it's like, again, turned the car on and walked away, and the car is just there like jittering around, so to speak. Oh my God, I'm talking about this. But at the very least, Power delivered, and there's some dialogue there that you gotta really look closely at. When Power says, well, I got Meowie back, so, you know, I don't really have any use in being a devil hunter anymore, but there's no escaping Makima. And it kind of just felt like it was thrown under as Denji is there thinking, like, you gotta keep in mind, like, some of these things, dog. Makima a little fierce there, you know what I'm saying? A little hot tamale, so to speak. But then we cut to Denji in the office stamping papers regarding the whole Bat Devil situation with Makima, and Makima can clearly see that Denji is out of it. He is kind of there like not really caring, so to speak, and he's even thinking to himself like, man, that was worthless, honestly. Like, and if this is the whole idea of having goals and me enjoying more so the chase than actually achieving it, then what the hell is all of this worth? So it almost is making, in a weird way, Denji reevaluate his life. This is absurd, but at the same time, very much so within the characterization and even character development of Denji, of him thinking to himself, damn, dog, maybe I really need to reprioritize, you know what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, because if I'm all gung-ho about things, but then when I get there, I'm disappointed, am I really living right? But then you got Makima there, as he's there basically all devastated, saying, hey, what's going on? And once Denji breaks it down to like, yo, dog, I touched some boobs, it really wasn't all what I thought it would be, it kind of sets Makima in motion to put Denji back on track, so to speak. Because if you think about it, Denji, for the most part, if you're a hot girl with any type of chest or whatnot, he's pretty easy to manipulate. Pretty much all you got to do is keep on dangling some fruit in front of him, so to speak. So the fact that he reached one of those goals, Makima can see that, okay, we just gotta, you know, maneuver, so to speak. We just gotta keep it pushing to a different direction in order to get homie back on track. Because as all that's going on, she's starting to slowly explain about this whole gun devil that is a big crisis right now that apparently appeared 13 years ago in New York. Because you gotta keep in mind that this Chainsaw Man, I believe takes place like in the late 90s, around like the Clinton administration or whatnot. So this right here makes you wonder, okay, so this happened like in 84 or something, like, or in the mid to late 80s when the Gun Devil first appeared in the US, which makes me really wonder, like, hey, you know, the manga's on a Chainsaw Man 2, so to speak. I wouldn't mind seeing Chainsaw Man 0 with a different protagonist or whatnot, because I want to know what happened in the 80s with this gun devil and what was going down at that time. Just throwing that in there. And Makima, knowing Denji so much so, basically seduces him back into the mind frame, because first she bites his finger, and that was something that you should keep in mind. I'm going to just throw that in there, that she bites his finger and says, remember this sensation, remember how this feels as I'm biting on your finger, which you could throw that there's something to it in terms of like an erotic situation, but I feel like there's a little bit more than meets the eye to just that whole scenario, so to speak. But she takes it even further and is like, well, maybe that's not going to entice him enough, and then allows him to do what he did to Power to do to her. And I'm there like, Makima. And then the question starts arising, dog, Power or Makima? Power or Makima? I'm still gonna stick with the stinky waifu. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, she don't like to shower. Yeah, she don't like to flush. But I don't know. There's something devious about Makima, no? Like, it's just, with Power, it's just straight up, hey, you got to do your thing, cool beans, whatever. With Makima, it's straight up seduction. And I don't know if I trust it per se. And following that, Makima propositions him that, yo, you take out this gun devil, you handle this situation for me, I will be like Shenron and I will let you touch the, no. That was the wrong analogy anyway, but she will grant him any wish that he wants, and you already know, you know what Denji wants. If at that point he's like, well, the other stuff didn't really do nothing for me, he's gonna probably try to take it to home plate. And I like how in all of the midst of this weird little situation between Denji and Makima, she does give him a little bit of character development and making him understand that these type of situations, these type of more adult, I feel like I have to really watch my words with this one because YouTube be bugging, but these type of adult situations essentially feel better when you know the person. And that's facts. That's just genuinely facts. Like, when you're in a relationship, a lot of those situations feel more meaningful and just feel better because you know the person, you got feelings for the person, etc., etc. And she's trying to tell him, you got feelings for me. So if, you know what I'm saying, you didn't really enjoy it with Power, you don't really got feelings for Power. That's almost like, you know, a buddy to him, so to speak. That's his comrade. That's like Luffy getting a hand on Nami. Luffy's gonna be like, so anyway, where's the meat? Pause. But considering Denji really feels it for Makima, her also being essentially his savior, think about it, he was in the slums, broke as hell until Makima, he's probably gonna feel a lot better going to home plate with that. And again, Makima's sticking them ideas in his mind, you know what I'm saying? Well, she's sticking ideas in his mind, he's trying to stick something. But then we start to cut into a little bit of Aki's past, because remember, Aki is just as important to the plot as these other characters, and we see a flashback of two kids playing in the snow, very Fire Punch-esque. If you've ever read Tatsuki Fujimoto, the author of Chainsaw Man's previous work, that felt like a scene straight out of Fire Punch. That whole scene right there, the backstory of Aki, of how his brother, or I believe it was his brother, was wiped out with basically the gun devil all those years ago. Now we have clarity as to why he so much so really has it out for devils. And at the same time, you could imagine that this gun devil, if he is responsible for what happened to Aki, that is probably his main objective, is to take this gun devil down. So there's a lot riding on this next mission, and it really feels like Chainsaw Man right here is starting to set into its own and take it from just like Denji bumbling about on some silly stuff to, okay, now we got a plot really brewing. Now we got connections to the latest case, to people's past. Like, now we're really cooking amongst all of the yeah. And then we cut to a little bit more of this Himeno character, which I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna tell you straight up, she's another one of my faves, and I said it last week, I'm gonna say it again. Some of these characters are just so freaking good on their own. We see Himeno with one of her peoples, and they basically took down what looks like some sort of sea creature. I don't know if it was a shark or what the hell was going on there, but pretty much there was a bullet found in there. And in case you don't know, in Japan, guns is a very rare thing. It's a rarity, so to speak. So them seeing that bullet, and on top of that, it seems as though the residue from that bullet being from the gun devil was enough to transform this creature into some sort of devil that was very strong. It amplified whatever the heck that thing was. So that makes you even more so curious as to, can Denji even fight this gun devil thing? Like, if it's capable of doing that, and it's capable of what it did in Aki's past, how the hell is Denji supposed to stop it? Like, we've seen, and we know Denji is a beast. We know that when he goes into his Chainsaw Man form and all that stuff, things get real. But this is like atomic bomb levels of craziness. Like, how are you supposed to fight against that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm hopping around here with it, but Himeno's past of finding out that she's already lost like 5 partners prior to Aki, so she was kind of already pessimistic about having partners in general. It was just like, in general, in this episode, we dove into so many characters and built up so many characters. Like, last episode, you probably didn't feel that familiar with Himeno. Likewise, you didn't really understand Aki completely. This episode clarified a couple of different things on top of adding more character development to Denji, adding a little more into Power being in the situation with Power, just a freaking riot. Once they all start working together on this new case or whatnot, and you see her and Denji piling around, I love that. I love that almost, it's hard to say brother and sister because of the first scene of the episode, which again, sponsors, y'all tripping allowing that, but hey, so be it. But they kind of have that type of relationship more so than anything else. So when they're goofing around and they're pulling pranks on Aki, it just feels like family. Like 5 episodes in, and I feel like, yo, this is a dysfunctional and hilarious, but nevertheless family situation. And then Himeno throws down the gauntlet even further with saying, hey, whoever defeats this devil on this case or whatnot, I'll grant you a kiss on the cheek, which Denji's there like, nah, I got character development already, all right? I got morals. I got goals right now. Like, that ain't gonna do nothing for me, dog. Don't even worry about it. I ain't trying to sweat none of that stuff, dog. And I'm there like, Denji, we're rising up the ranks. We're leaving symptomhood, so to speak. Symptomhood, get it? Symptom, yeah. To which, of course, Himeno likes it. Like, ooh, that's a challenge. You want me? And she whispers in his ear, don't worry, I'll give you some tongue with it if you do it. And right there, Denji's just again all back down. We back down bad boys because he's there rushing into the scene like, Denji, you guy, you. To which we arrive at this building and we're going up the stairs, and the first thing we see is some little freaking head with arms. It was a little devil of sorts, and pretty much it gets vanquished almost immediately, and we get more into this Himeno character of her ability that apparently seemingly in that flashback that we got of her with the bandage over her eye and whatnot, that was probably when she made that deal with the devil, the ghost devil, to use a ghost's right arm to fight, because immediately that little devil is destroyed and demolished thanks to Himeno. We got some powerful people you got to think about right now. Like, maybe that's why they put together a group opposed to just sending Denji off on his own to try and combat this gun devil entity, because you got somebody like Aki, his devil we've seen pretty freaking fierce, that fox. I know I said wolf, yeah, it is what it is. You got this ghost arm, you got of course Denji, you got Power that is a mad lad, so to speak. You got a collective that is, you know, formidable as a crew. However, we quickly start to notice, thanks to Himeno's mans, that yeah, we're stuck in a loop on the 8th floor, because he keeps on trying to go downstairs and he's like, wait a minute, you guys are here, what's going on? So they're seemingly stuck in some sort of domain expansion. Okay, relax, Jujutsu Kaisen, but yeah, they look like they're in a loop, which I found it to be, and I don't know if this was the intent of Tatsuki Fujimoto. Very interesting that they got stuck on a loop on the 8th floor. If you look at numerically, the number 8 is the only one that connects constantly. You could keep on going like this, and I know maybe I'm thinking way outside the box of what Tatsuki Fujimoto was thinking, but I found that to be a nice little addition to the whole situation, that they're stuck on the number that's basically infinite, so to speak. You could keep on going 8 all day long like a maze. So yeah, just wanted to throw that in for you. And all around, an amazingly erotic but fantastic episode. This is why Chainsaw Man appeals to a lot of demographics. Like, little kids probably shouldn't be seeing some of this, just keeping honest with you, but if you're a teenager and older and you're already thinking all this stuff, especially if you a grown-ass adult, you're gonna love this stuff, because it's not the high school situation. They're all on the workforce, and to this day I'm still scratching my head like, yo, Shonen Jump really let this go through in their weekly publication? This was an experiment that turned out to be a huge success, and probably why they had to eventually put part 2 in Jump Plus, because this is extreme. But I'm very curious about what you guys thought of this episode of Chainsaw Man episode 5. Favorite characters so far? What are your thoughts on Makima seducing Denji, offering him any wish he wants? Your thoughts on Himeno so far? Power trying to play it at first with them pads. You could throw the argument that maybe she was a little embarrassed, she's part of the small brigade, but that's alright, Power, we love you. And I guess the biggest question, the most serious question of this whole entire thing I gotta ask: Power, Makima, or Himeno? Who do you want to grant your wish? Who would you want? So laugh for this one on ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell to get more videos. I talk about it all. Yeah.